Alright, this is the weekly check of the Hungry Bin. And this week last week I had fed her on the perimeter and then also put moist bedding on the top, but did not give and the lid was kept open. So there was air all the time, and this was not watered at all during the week. I wanted to see how the moist bedding did or how far it went down. Before we saw something moist again. So let's dig through here. And there's starting to get moist. So I would say maybe it's about half an inch before it starts getting moist again. And that's not where I fed at. So you can see the darker portion. Hopefully you can see the darker portion, but it's darker right here where I pulled back some of the bedding. So let's see. This is not where I fed, so I don't expect there to be many worms here in the center. And there aren't very many worms in the center. But let's check on the perimeter and see how they've done on the food. There are worms all along the perimeter. Let's see. Yep, all along the perimeter. So they've been going for the food that was there, which is good. And I don't see much left. Let's see. There's not much left. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do my usual and dig way down and aerate. This may or may not be the last time I dig down here since, let's see, there's some life on here. It's potworm or maggot, some type of activity, some beetles, a few mites. All right. I'm going to get all of these worms mixed up here. They'll gravitate to wherever the food is. And what's interesting too is underneath the food, which was very wet, I had put some dry bedding. And obviously the bedding is not dry anymore, it's wet. So they also have that to consume. Oh, corn cob. I don't know if you could see that, but there's a baby right there. Okay. Another corn cob. Teeming with life. Another corn cob. Some mites on this one. Baby worms. A baby worm right there. So that's a good sign, babies. Nice that I don't have to water this. It's very moist down here, even though the top is dry. The worms look good. I am seeing some juveniles as well as babies in here. So life is good in the hungry bin. All right, let's see. I'm gonna do something a little bit different today. I think I'm gonna have to dig out some a bit wider here. All right, well, I'm gonna feed it up and let me get it ready and I'll be right back. All right, I belong to sharewaste.com. So people that have waste that I could use for my worms, waste or food to use for my worms, and they drop it off at my house and I got free food for my worms. Anyway, this one just happens to be somebody dropped this off. Thank you, Malia, for let's see, this for fast food cups. So she got me 3, but I'll be using just 2 of them today. And instead of dry bedding on the bottom, I will put these cartons on the bottom. and food inside of it. As usual, this food was frozen and has thawed and been sitting on my counter for about a week or more. And I've got coffee, used coffee grounds and coffee filters that I got from my local Starbucks. That's what that was, that big piece of paper. And that's mixed in here as well. There's a bunch of vegetables, tomatoes, carrots, corn husk. Let's see what I see in here. Half a potato halves. Just a whole bunch of stuff. And they seem to be doing well on one container, which is like a gallon of food. I won't put all the wet stuff in here, but most of it. Is it too much for the worms this week? I'm not sure. Could be, could be not. I don't know. We'll see next week when I check up on them. And I'll save the rest of this wet stuff for the next container of food that I have thawed. Starts the microbial action for that particular batch of food. So it breaks down quicker for the worms to eat. The usual worm chow, which does contain diatomaceous earth, as well as eggshell. So they are getting their buffer. I'm just going to put a bunch on because there's a bunch of wet food. And cover it up with, let's see. Yeah, I'll just do it with the existing bedding. And let's see, what else can I put in here? Oh yeah. I'll put some moist bedding. A little bit of that to help bring up the level of the bin, little by little. And also a little bit of neem seed on the top. Helps to keep the beetles in check. I'll probably be doing a harvest, let's see, next week. Next week for sure. And that's it. And thank you for coming on this journey with me.